I'm not even here anymore, but my name is Sina. I edit the comic books.
Oh, should we start?
Should we start? Yeah, we're starting.
Good.
We're on. Alright, so I edit the Walking Dead comic books. This man writes them and also works on the TV show version. And then this is my first time meeting Chandler Riggs.
Do you know who this guy is at all? Yeah, Chandler has no idea. This is Sina Grace. He's the editorial director at Skybound. He acts as the editor on all the Skybound titles, including The Walking Dead. So if you've ever noticed a typo in The Walking Dead, it's technically his fault. It's his fault because he didn't find it. So that's how that works. And then, you know, he does the letters column stuff, so we crack jokes in the back. You guys never read the letters column. Anybody? Yeah. There's a very small applause. I just want to point that out. There's like 8 people over there. No one else. But it's probably because you all watch the show and don't read the comic. But that's okay. I'm fine with that.
Me.
Save me, Sina.
Yeah, alright, so here's how it's going to work. I'm going to ask like 2 questions, and then we're leaving the rest of this conversation to you guys. So I would say if there's a little row right here, start lining up if you want to ask questions, because this hour is for you guys. I'm going to ask the question that, you know, is dumb, but everyone wants to ask it, so let's get it out of the way. Can you say anything that's coming up for The Walking Dead?
No.
I will be evasive, hopefully entertainingly evasive for the entirety of the panel. I can say there's awesome stuff coming. Awesome. Chandler, would you agree? Are there awesome things coming up in the second half? Sure. Can you agree with can you agree with somewhat more enthusiasm?
Nope.
Seriously.
Well, there'll be more of me, so more of me.
We just told him that he hasn't seen the episodes yet. But just kidding. He's gonna fire me after this. But so we left the show in a hopefully fairly interesting place. Has anyone not seen the last episode of the first half of the season? You're screwed. Basically, we come back from that, and there's a lot of tension and exciting stuff. There's like 2 guys in here, so I'm going to be vague. Screw it. So Sophia comes out of the barn, and Rick shoots her, and it's you know it's a big moment. And who did I ruin it for?
I just lost 3 viewers. Nice job.
Hey, I lost him too. I don't know. The guy that's waving his hand looks like a nice guy, so forget it. Go for it. But Herschel and Rick and the group are kind of at odds when we come back, and a lot of tension is there. And then there's actually some new threats that are thrown into the mix, aside from the zombies and aside from the conflict between Herschel's group and Rick's group. And there's going to be some pretty awesome stuff. I don't want to spoil anything. There was a teaser that was online, a few clips and stuff, and it did include a car crash. So there's like a car crash coming up in the show. That's pretty awesome. Who's in that car? What's the result of that? How did they crash? This is all things you're going to want to know. So I definitely recommend you come back. It's on February 12th, Sunday nights. I want to say 9 p.m. On AMC. It's probably written on the thing behind me, so I don't know what's but it's cool stuff. So right now I'm playing a game where I try to talk without any kind of break for as long as possible to prevent Chandler from talking. So that's what I'm doing. Make you guys aware of that.
So why don't you tell us about your experience? I mean, it's been a crazy year for you.
It's been crazy. The things that have happened this year. My son did this thing the other day.
Well, I mean, it's just been amazing, and I mean, everybody's so nice except Robert, and I mean, it's just amazing, and the writers too. I mean, I gotta give credit to them; they're amazing as well, and I mean, it's just.
What are their names? I'm just kidding. No, I mean the writers are. We got Glenn Mazzara, Scott Gimple, Evan Riley, Angela Kang. Fantastic people.
Let's say that.
Working on. You know their names. You hung out with them. I'm just messing with you. But so Scott has blonde hair, and he Scott Gimple is the one that wears the sweater vest set.
But you have, I mean, like, you're famous now. You have security, you have paparazzi following you out of the bars, like...
The funny thing was that yesterday, when I got to Arizona, my mom emailed my dad and said, I live in a cul-de-sac, and a car came down the cul-de-sac and they parked in front of my neighbor's house. And a bunch of girls came out with like bunny hats on, and they went over and knocked on my neighbor's door, and then they went on knock on my other neighbor's door, and then they turned around and was like, there it is, there's Chandler Riggs' house. And then, so apparently it was like a scavenger hunt to find, or for somebody's birthday, to find my house. With bunny hats on. And so, that was weird. I didn't see it though, so that's, I guess it's good.
I mean, are you going to, do you go to regular school, or are you now, like, do you get schooled on set? Get schooled on set?
Well, I used to go to public school. Now I'm homeschooled because last year it did not work out. My teachers were, well, I can't say anything negative.
They're asking for spoilers.
Please.
Well, they weren't very supportive. Like, my science teacher was like giving me every single bit of busy work and homework and just stuff. So now I'm homeschooled, and it's so easy because it's all online. You guys may know it as the Arizona Virtual Academy, and it's all. But for me, it's Georgia Cyber Academy. But it's the same thing, and that's what I do now.
Well, you feel like you're getting a good education.
Yes.
That's what's important. It's good.
I'm running low on icebreaker questions, so please start lining up. Like, I didn't intend to talk this long.
Where are we lining up for questions?
Over here, right over here. Just
Do we, this room is a little packed. You guys want to just try and yell them out? Let's see if that works.
All right.
We don't have a mic over here anyway.
All right, I'll do my job and I'll do the pointing.
Yeah.
All right. So I saw him first. You.
Hi, Chandler. How geeky are you?
Well, I have an Xbox 360. I've been playing it for. This is my second year, and I love zombie games. I can't wait until Walking Dead video game.
Hey.
It's coming.
2012, and I'm a big Call of Duty fan. I have like from World at War to Modern Warfare 3, from Call of Duty 4 to Modern Warfare 3. I have Left 4 Dead games, Dead Island.
What about Resident Evil?
Resident Evil.
Well, I played the demo for Resident Evil 5, but I didn't know when the release date was, so I didn't know about it.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I heard, and then, but the thing was that the talking zombies, that was weird.
Yeah, they're technically different kinds of zombies. I mean,
There's a zombie with a chainsaw. That's
zombie with a chainsaw, their heads split open, they turn into big monsters.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
No, I know, I played the demo.
Gamer tag.
Do not give them your gamer tag.
But I have like, I just got Skyrim. But yeah, I got to play like once, but it's like awesome. But it's.
You want to play it right now?
Yes. Yes. But yeah, I have a bunch of other games. So you could say I'm geeky. I don't read a lot of comic books. I read. Wait. Okay. I read Walking Dead. I do read Walking Dead. I finished volume 14. I'm not caught up with 91 and 92
He
yet.
just picked up volume 15 here at the show.
Yep.
I charged him. I didn't charge him.
How old are you?
12? Yeah, 12. And I read like a couple of the new versions of Green Lantern.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I saw, zombie in the gray shirt in the back, the girl. Zombie
How's
girl.
it like working with Andrew, both of you guys? Andrew Lee.
It's hard when, I'll let him answer because he spends a lot more time with him than I do, but I will say that it's hard to be in his presence because of his dreamy eyes.
In the next few episodes that you guys will see, mainly in the last episode, it's mostly me and him, and I can't really say much more. But he's just an amazing actor, and I mean, it's great getting to work with him too. And he's been in Love Actually, Teacher, and a bunch of other things, and he's just an amazing actor.
Get someone from that side. You with the two kids.
Mr. Kirkman, is it aggravating that like some of the main stuff, like Shane still being alive and that, does that aggravate you that they don't stick more closer to the comics?
I mean, not at all. Partly because, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm somewhat of a big reason that kind of stuff happens because I'm in the writer's room and I wrote the comic, so I did all these stories, and so I'm really the guy in the writer's room sitting there that you guys hate because I'm the guy that's like, let's kill Rick, that'll be weird, right? I don't care, let's do it. Don't tell any of the other actors I said
I'm emailing him now.
yeah. So like I'm in the room like, let's introduce this guy, and then he'll be in like an episode and then he just dies, and the fans will be like, oh, they finally brought this guy into the show, that's awesome, oh my god, he's dead. And then we're like, whoa, this show is crazy. So like that's the stuff I really enjoy about the TV show, is being able to sit back and go, I wrote the Shane story. This is how the Shane story goes in the comic book. But, you know, when I was writing that, it was a number of years ago. I like the way that worked in the comic. I could do it exactly the same way, but to me, one of the most appealing things about the Walking Dead comic is that when you sit down to read an issue, you have no idea what's going to happen. You know, anyone could die at any moment. The status quo could change just on a dime, and I think that's really exciting. And I want to maintain that for the show, even for people that are very familiar with the comic. So I'm always pushing to change things, but at the same time, like I know that there are things that are fundamental to The Walking Dead that if you don't do that, it's not The Walking Dead. And so the challenge is to adapt the story in a way that adapts the story but keeps it interesting to an audience that's already read it. And the best example I can come up with for, you know, us doing that and it actually working really well is, spoiler alert for the premiere of season 2, which is out, you guys have all seen it, is this guy getting shot at the end of that episode. That happened in the comic. It was Otis that did it, and it led them to Herschel's farm. That's the exact same story. But everything that led up to that moment was so different that the second you heard that gunshot, it was still a huge shock. And so that's really what we're going for in the show. Sometimes things won't be adapted very closely, like the Shane story. But it's always going to come back to the comic, and there's always going to be things from the comic that you guys will see in the show and be like, oh, they totally did that, that's awesome, but hopefully you won't see it coming. So that's really the way it is. So it's kind of my fault, I'm sorry.
Green shirt, brown hair.
Okay, I have 2 questions. Do they put any pressure on you to make sure that you change it, or to make it spicier for television, or better for television? And if there was a zombie apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice?
Yeah.
Look, I've answered that a lot, and it's, if you guys have heard it before, I apologize, but if there were a zombie apocalypse, I would kill myself as fast as I possibly could. Just because I wouldn't look for a weapon. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my god, a chainsaw, yeah, that'd be cool, or a sword, because it doesn't need gas or bullets, and blah, blah, blah. I would not look for a weapon because I'm not very athletic, not very brave. I'm really not that smart when it gets down to it, I'll be honest with you, I'm not, I mean, but I'm not going to last long, you know, and I have a wife and kids that I would probably be interested in protecting, but they'd probably die pretty quickly too, because like whatever. And so it would be a depressing time, and I would just get out of there, you know, like I'm not looking forward to the apocalypse if that stuff happens, and it's a terrifying thought, but I don't know, I'm just trying to be real about it. Depressing? Is it depressing at all? I don't mean to be depressing. Anyway, you had another question I wanted to answer and I forgot it.
Did they put pressure on you?
Oh, okay. There's no pressure at all. Like the thing that happens is that, you know, I'm in a writer's room with Glenn Mazzara, who's the showrunner. You know, I'm not the showrunner, so he's the guy that's actually like working with the actors, going on set, running the writer's room. He's the boss of the show. I don't think he could fire me, but whatever. So I'm in the room with him and 5 other writers. And so there's no pressure to change the show and make the show more interesting, but the comic is there and everyone has read the comic and everyone likes the comic, at least they tell me that. And I'm there, but there's so many other brains in the room that have good ideas. Like, that's what drives the show. There's never any mandates, there's never any pressure, there's never any, like, you should do this, you should not do that. Like, we don't really hear from the network until we pitch our ideas to them, and then they're very thoughtful and really cool about, like, suggesting things, but really letting us do our own thing and trying to create a good show. But I mean, there's just a lot of brains in the mix and a lot of cool suggestions, but there's never any kind of pressure to do anything.